welcome to the Corey Adams Show. On this debut episode, I want to discuss the Montreal Screw Job and my opinions of it. So, my opinion of the Montreal Screw Job is it was a 100% work. Only very few people knew about it, and when they worked everybody, the locker room, the dirt sheet writers, the fans, everybody. And I think it was a work because if you look at the Wrestling with Shadows DVD, around that time you'd never see Vince allowing any camera crews backstage. That was very unheard of unless it was a WWE production, which even then was unheard of. Everything was still close knit. And I think also because Bret didn't agree to the finish, and they were going to do this big schmaz at the end. So I believe that the schmaz at the end was the screw job. And it was because Bret didn't want to look like an ass in Montreal in front of his hometown or his home country. So I think the screw job was the perfect ending because Bret, even though he loses the title, he still drops the title to Shawn, but he still leaves the hero, making WWE, Shawn Michaels, Vince McMahon look like the asses. And Bret's the Canadian hero. And I think that was his way out of the company with saving face. And then look what it did from there. Bret goes on to WCW. The Mr. McMahon character is born. Shawn's a champion going into... Now my times could be a little off, but Shawn eventually goes on and feuds with Austin, and boom, you have your next big star. So the whole thing was very weird. And I think it's something that's they're never gonna come out and be like, oh, this is a work, because it's still making money today. Look at the DVDs. Look how many people are talking about it. Look at all the specials on it. There's no way. And then Bret going and punching Vince. I even think that was a part of it, to make it look real. And then everything that was documented with the Wrestling with Shadows, I mean, it has to be. So, that's my opinion. Is I strongly believe it was a work. There's plenty of other people who believe the same. Scott Hall has openly said that he believes it was a work. And it does not make sense for that to be real. Because, like I said, they're still making money with it today. And a lot of people say, what about Bret didn't come back for so long? I think that was Bret's decision. I think that was partially WWE's decision. So, I don't know. I'm sure there were some issues there. And I'm sure there was reasons for him not coming back so long. But I do think the Montreal Screw Job was a work. I think they fooled everybody. And like I said, they're not going to come out and say that because it's still making money today. It's not one of these things that somebody forgot about it in like 5-10 years down the road. And the other thing was Vince told Bret to go take the WCW deal. Vince helped Bret get to that point. So for someone being that bitter and all these supposed problems, like I'm sure there were problems, but you would not have your current boss go and try and say, oh, go make more money at the competition, and help them through it. So in short, I think the whole thing was a setup. It was a really good setup, really well put together. And it was very entertaining. And also, if you look at that match, they had a really good match, too. And also, another snidbit of information, the way the whole thing went down, if you remember, Shawn reversed the sharpshooter on Bret, and that's when Vince rang the bell. Now, a veteran like Bret Hart knows that if you think you're going to be screwed or anything is going to happen, you don't put yourself in that predicament. So if Bret said, I'm not going to reverse the sharpshooter, there would have been or if he didn't agree to that spot, there would have been no reason for them to ring the bell because you couldn't. You can't make it look like a guy submitting if he's not in a submission hold. So that's another aspect of it. Is I think it's just and I can understand if that was someone like Brent, someone on a newer end, or someone not that experienced. But Bret has all the experience in the world, so why again would he put himself in that predicament? So there's all these little things that make it seem like it was a work, and I strongly believe after watching wrestling for so many years, being involved in it in so many years, wrestling myself, and everything I learned, I think it's the greatest work in wrestling history. And we could go on and on about this, but that's a little bit about what I think. So you had the Wrestling with Shadows DVD, like I said, Bret putting himself in that predicament, the conversations with Vince that are public knowledge, and I just think the whole thing was a work. And even Scott Hall has gone on record and said it was a work. So that's what I believe. I'd like to see your opinions in the comments. Let me know what you think. I know some people are gonna not agree with this, and some people are like, "Oh well, Bret Hart got screwed. Bret Hart got screwed." And then the other thing with it is look what happened with Earl Hebner. He fed off of the "You Screwed Bret" chants. He had fun with that. Earl Hebner became more popular by being involved in that as a referee. And he was always related to that incident. And he was selling T-shirts off that incident. I mean, and so just look at the whole picture. Do your research. But I strongly believe it was a setup, and they're still making money with it to this day. There could be other issues why Bret didn't come back for so long, because people do say, "Oh well, Bret didn't come back for 20 years or whatever it was." Who knows if he was even ready? Because also then you had the issues with the family when Owen tragically passed away, so that could have been part of the reason why he didn't come back for so long. And I mean, there's so many other things than just that one night in Montreal. So I think it was a way to get Bret out of the company, save face, move on, and then because also if you look at it, if the screw job never happened, we would have had the Mr. McMahon character, would not have Austin versus McMahon, and who knows what would have happened from there. So that's my opinion, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So please put your thoughts in the comments, and let's get a conversation going on what you think. So this has been a little bit of a short video, but this has also been the pilot for the Corey Adams Show, and we'll see you next time, right here.